To be honest, I didn't even know what a Zionist was. All I knew was that I had been asked to sign a pledge for Israel when I first became a candidate for Congress. And after refusing to do so, my congressional career became trench warfare.
Israel has a powerful stranglehold on the American government. They control both members of the House and the Senate. They have us involved in wars of which we have little or no interest. Our children are coming back in body bags. Our nation is bankrupt over these wars. And if you open your mouth, you get targeted. And if they don't beat you at the poll, they'll put you in prison.
All right, explain to me what you see as, why you target or why you have a grudge against the Israelis.
The grudge is not necessarily a grudge. It's an objective assessment that no one will have the courage to speak about. They're controlling much of our foreign policy. They're influencing much of our domestic policy. Wolfowitz, as Undersecretary of Defense, manipulated President Bush #2 back into Iraq. They pushed definitely to try and get Bush before he left to move into Iran. We're conducting an expansionist policy of Israel, and everybody's afraid to say it. They control much of the media, they control much of the commerce of the country, and they control powerfully both bodies of the Congress. They own the Congress.
Are you an anti-Semite?
No, I'm not. That's exactly what they're going to say, and I expect that.
A lot of the things you said, a lot of people are wondering why a lot of the freshman congressmen and women go over to Israel. Is there any kind of oath to Israel, or what happens on those junkets when those congressmen and women go over there? Because it's not reported in the mainstream, and I believe you're one of the only people that have ever spoken out about that. So what goes on over there in Israel?
Well, the only time I've been in Israel, I was in prison over there for trying to deliver medical supplies and school supplies to the people of Gaza after Israel's assault on Gaza, Operation Cast Lead.
Right.
But there's a terrible problem in our Congress, and the fact is that there's a lot of money that's available if one subscribes to a particular point of view. If you make a commitment that you will cast certain votes in a certain way, then there's a lot of money to be had there. The Congressman Gus Savage wrote, he actually made a speech on the floor of the House, and it's called Laying Out the Facts. So you can go to the Congressional Record website and you can find Laying Out the Facts. And there, Gus Savage talks about the way in which the power of the pro-Israel lobby is exercised during campaigns so that they always win.
And last thing, and I'll let you go, it seems a lot of people, well, some people speak up and say that Israel does have a lot of influence on the United States policies. Does, you serving, does it seem that that is the case? A lot of people say when a bill's being passed that a lot of the congressmen and women say, what is Israel going to think about this? And they're really concerned with Israel. Does that really seem to be the case? That would you say that maybe even more than American interests?
I think all we need to do is look at the confirmation hearings of our current Secretary of Defense, Chuck Hagel, to understand the power of the pro-Israel lobby inside the United States. If you go back and you look at the questions that were asked and how can I say, I mean, it was, he was browbeaten, really, because he made certain statements about being the United States Congress, not the Israeli Knesset, and he was castigated and vilified for really what's a statement of fact, that as a member of Congress, we're sworn to uphold the Constitution and look out for the interests of the people of the United States first, and to protect the integrity of U.S. taxpayers.